Hey, hope you enjoyed watching this FPV drone cinematic sequence. These were some of my favorite shots I got on the latest project we did with Uroš Podlogar, and the whole video will be linked below in the video description. Now without further ado, let's jump right into the cinematic FPV tips tutorial. If you are someone who is trying to either start with FPV drone filming, or if you already know how to fly but you're trying to make your FPV videos look better, this tutorial is for you. Cinematic FPV is all about flying as smoothly as possible, so my tip number one is don't try to over control your quad. This is not freestyle or racing, meaning in most situations you don't want to do sudden movements, try to ease in and out with your sticks. Your goal when doing cinematic sequences should be to have clean lines with no harsh turns. Your quad should literally fly and glide in the air like a bird. And to achieve this smooth style of flying, you need to understand the basic physics of your drone. How far out in the corner does it slide, and how much of stick movement you need to do to turn it back smoothly. Improving your yaw stick control is key here. Your flying should be a one continuous smooth line without aggressively changing directions too often, unless you lost track of your subject and you need to reframe quickly, or if there is an object that you need to avoid, of course. But when you fly smoothly, what can happen is your video can quickly become boring if things start to look too repetitive. So tip number two is, and this one is really important if you want people to actually watch your videos, and it's don't fly in a straight linear line, because viewers of your video will get bored fast. Visual content creators that are winning on social media today are the ones who can get and keep viewers' attention. So make your flights look more interesting by gently cruising left and right. This is what makes FPV drone cinematography different from normal commercial drones: the ability to do non-linear movements. And a fundamental move you need to learn how to do is the split S. So this is my tip number 3. Master the split S. It's the most common move to do when flying cinematic FPV because it looks so good. Basically what you do is a half a roll and half a flip, and you enter a new scene like a boss. And to make split S look as good as possible, try to do it close to something, against an object for example. Tip number 4 is create depth in your image by flying close to things. Find a gap and enter with a split S. Doing this exercise is perfect for achieving better flying precision. And overall, try to fly close to your objects. It just looks so much more cinematic. Try to fill the frame. Don't have too much dead space around you. And because the GoPro actually has the wide angle lens, this really means that you will have to fly as close to your subjects as possible to fill the frame. But know your limits, safety is the priority. Tip number 1 is one of the simplest things to do to immediately level up your composition, and it's to fly above the leading lines and follow them. This could be mountain ridges, rivers, roads, fences, basically lines in the nature. They create depth and symmetry and overall help draw the viewer's attention into the image. By the way, majority of the shots in this video were done with GoPro Hero 7, and I recently upgraded to GoPro Hero 8, and I shot the bikes that you saw at the intro sequence with the Hero 8. If you're interested about what FPV gear I use, check this video. Tip number 6. Search for reflections. Yes, it is sketchy to fly above water, and I don't take responsibility for any lost drones, but you gotta risk it to get the biscuit. Reflections look really good and cinematic in my opinion. They create symmetry in your image that is pleasing to the viewer's eye. They just look good, and they are worth the risk of flying above water, so yeah, risk it. Tip number 7, and I should have mentioned this one earlier because it's probably one of the most important ones. Try to plan your shots before taking off. Yes, becoming good at pre-visualizing your cinematic sequences takes time, takes practice, but you gotta start somewhere. So before I take off, what I usually do is I scan my surroundings to firstly find the best place to take off, the one that is exposed and will enable me to keep a good visual signal with my directional antenna, and then I search for leading lines. I decide where my subject will be if I have one, and what he or she will be doing, and I also plan the starting point of the cinematic sequence, maybe the split S entry if I'm doing one. I also try to search for some gaps to fly through, and I also really make sure that my flight zone is safe. There are no unexpected people or wires or other objects, especially if I'm flying fast and low to the ground. And yeah, of course I share my plan with my subjects, so they know exactly what to do and when. Battery life is short, so this will help you get the most out of your cinematic flight. Moving on to tip number 8, which is use filters. Simple as that. I most commonly use the ND8, 16 and a polarizer filter, depends from the exposure, and it helps the colors and the sky to pop out, and it also enables me to follow the 180-degree shutter rule, so I usually film in 4K 60 or 50 frames per second, and then I set the shutter to 100. And this will make your image look more blurry and natural looking, and telesin filters are the ones that I use. Tip number 9, don't have the camera mounted every time you go fly. Just like don't pursue that epic videos all the time. If you want to become a better pilot, you gotta start risking it and just go fly for the sake of flying, to have fun and practice your skills. And tip number 10 is learn how to edit. Colors and sound design are what can quickly enhance your FPV footage. Color will help set the mood of your scene, and to bring even more emotion out of your image, next time you're editing your FPV drone footage, apply some sound effects to what you see on the screen. It will help immerse your audience more fully in the visual experience. Okay, if you made it this far into the video, this means that you're obviously really interested about FPV racing drone cinematography. And if you're someone who is just starting out with FPV, I have good news for you. I've teamed up with a talented FPV pilot, Dominic Chapon, and we've prepared a short but jam-packed crash course that teaches you how to start FPV as fast as possible. Avoid buying bad gear and save money by following our shopping guide. Step-by-step drone building, step-by-step flying guides, real-world experiences and so on. Learn from our mistakes. We don't complicate, we want to help you get in the air and fly your quad as fast as possible. So if you're interested, just click in the link below the video. And yeah, this is it for this tutorial. If you have any questions, just don't hesitate to comment below this video. I'm more than happy to help you out, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.